Page 4, the politics of separating illegals from their children. Let me cut right to the chase. This is political theater. This phony outrage over our due process of illegal aliens who attempt to abuse our immigration system using their children as refugee bargaining chips, it's a fake. These illegals know what they're doing. They read or heard about how spineless most of our politicians are. They read or they heard about the giant loophole in our immigration law that forces border agents to grant entry into our house anyone who says the magic word, asylum. That's it, poof, you're let into our country. Democrat politicians don't care about that. They're playing on people's emotions right now. They're trying to make the Republicans and Team Trump feel guilty for simply enforcing the law. And Republicans are so weak, so short-sighted, so politically motivated that instead of exposing this attack on our sovereignty, they're caving. Oh, we can't separate children from their parents. Bulletin. We do this every day in our country to our own people. Ever heard of Child Protective Services? Ever heard of divorce court? Yours truly, like many men going through divorce, had my child ripped away from me for many days and more than once. No constitutional due process, only some lawyer dressed in a black robe telling me that that's the way it is. I overcame it, thank God, yet the political opportunists are nauseatingly in high gear right now, crying and squawking, led by the liberalist of liberals, Senator Dianne Feinstein.
Another mother and her two sons, aged 10 and 4, fled violence in El Salvador.
Stop the tape. Okay, so what are we supposed to do about the, quote, violence in El Salvador, which is a violent country? 6 million people live in El Salvador. Are we simply supposed to open up our doors and say, yeah, come on in. All 6 million of you, you're victims of violence. You qualify for refugee status. Does that make any sense in terms of immigration policy? Maybe it does to DiFi, but it doesn't to me. Roll tape.
After being apprehended, the family was given 5 minutes before the crying boys were taken from their mother. She's been held in Laredo Detention Center for 3 months and doesn't know where her children are.
Stop the tape. But let me just point one thing out. The children are in far better hands now than they were when they were dragged on this journey from El Salvador on up to our border. I guarantee you, they're being fed better, they're being cared for better. What kind of parent would do this to their child or their children? This is accessory to a crime. It is a crime to violate our sovereignty, a crime to violate our border, and they know it. And they're dragging their kids into it. And they're being used. Those children are being used by those parents. They're being abused. Yeah, Child Protective Services ought to be brought in on this. Absolutely. This is child abuse. Roll tape.
A third mother and her 7-year-old daughter fled ethnic violence and potential civil war in the Congo. The mother described hearing her daughter screaming in the next room when they were separated after arriving in the United States.
Okay, all right. So we're supposed to feel sorry for this situation. And you know what? We can. We all have empathy for things like this. But she, the mother, made a cognizant choice to come into our country, and by doing that, necessarily has to now adhere to our rules, at least temporarily. Let me ask a question. Why is it syphilis is making a comeback? The kind of syphilis that was eradicated, not the run-of-the-mill garden variety syphilis, but this is a strain of syphilis that was all but wiped out in this country. Why is it now making a comeback? Why is TB making a comeback? The answer to both of those questions is the same. Because of uncontrolled illegal immigration in this country. People coming into this republic that we don't know who they are. We don't know if they're healthy or not. We don't know if they're good or if they are bad. This is the problem with unfettered illegal immigration and the now abuse of our asylum process and our refugee process, which of course was basically promulgated by the Obama administration with its neon light at the border saying, come on in. we will not deport you.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.